Back when I started my fitness journey, I was a big time counter when it came to diet. I counted calories, I counted my macros, my proteins, my fats. I even counted how many little pretzels that I would eat in like a little bag of pretzels that I would get on the plane. I'd meticulously log and catalog everything in my diet books. And boy, oh boy, was that ever a pain in the butt. See, these days, I don't count anything. I don't even count meals. If you ask me how many times a day do I eat, I'm like, I don't know, I eat whenever I'm hungry sort of thing. And the reason is because I really do believe that for the vast majority of people, counting things like macros and calories and stuff can be good to kind of just get a feel for what you're eating on a regular basis, but it can lead to a couple of pitfalls. The first of which being that it can give you a false sense of what you're actually eating, because ultimately the numbers that you're creating on your tab and your MyFitnessPal and everything like that is a rough guesstimation at best. So it can give us a false sense of thinking we're in a certain place with our diet that we really aren't. The other pitfall is that I often notice that people who are rigid counters tend to go a little bit more towards heavily processed, refined foods and things that come in boxes, and naturally so, because it's a lot easier to track numbers when there's numbers on the box and the food labels. But more wholesome homemade meals made with whole ingredients, that's a heck of a lot harder to track because there's a lot of stuff mixed in, portions are all over the place, and there's not these nice little tidy labels that we can have on things. So we tend to stay away from the more wholesome, healthy, and satisfying foods. But ultimately, it boils down to the fact that your body doesn't give a damn how many calories you eat, or how many grams of protein, or how many carbohydrates, or anything like that. All your body cares about is what is a normal diet, and if you make changes, how are you changing it from what your normal is? And you don't need to know these numbers to know what your normal is. You just have to have consistent dietary habits from one day to the next. I don't count grams of protein, but I know whenever I'm eating a lot more protein than normal because I know what normal is. It's usually one salmon fillet and one yogurt and whatever I normally eat. So if I double that and I'm like 2 salmon fillets and 2 yogurts at a time, I know I'm getting a lot more. How much more? Doesn't matter. All I know is it is more than normal, and I'm looking out for what are the outcomes of going above or below normal in order to adjust my diet. So just some food for thought on helping you break out of the tediousness of tracking food numbers. And if you do ever want to get a little bit more of, I want to get a feel for what I'm eating, one of the best ways to do this is a food photo log. So you just take out your camera, snap a picture of whatever you're going to eat, and then you've got a visual representation of what your diet looks like on a day-by-day basis. And that gives you oftentimes a much more accurate representation of what your diet actually looks like. So there are my thoughts. Love to hear yours down below. Talk to you then. Be fit, live free.